via Kuruksetra. So yesterday we were fighting. We were fighting because, yes, we want to go to Vrindavan, the transcendent land, the place where every step is a dance, every word is a song. But we were reflecting on how maybe before we develop that kind of consciousness, we have to evolve ourselves, purify ourselves. We have to uplift and elevate our consciousness, because otherwise, how can we enter Vrindavan as an intruder? We will feel like an intruder. And therefore, for some moments yesterday, we were remembering and reflecting on what is actually Vrindavan consciousness. And then we began our discussion yesterday by talking about Kuruksetra and how Kuruksetra can encompass 3 dimensions. We can see Kuruksetra as a battlefield. We can also see Kuruksetra as a place of religiosity, a dharmakshetra. And we can also see Kuruksetra as a place of separation. As we go in these days, you will see how we're actually going to deeper and deeper levels of understanding how to enter Vrindavan. Entering Vrindavan is something you cannot rush into. They say, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Vrindavan is very sacred. Vrindavan is very, very special. Vrindavan is for the Rasika Bhaktas, those who are connoisseurs of devotion. Vrindavan is for those who are done with material enjoyment. Vrindavan is for those who have given up all hopes in the material world. Vrindavan is for the pure souls. How will we get there? It seems like a very long journey, very far away. But we can make it if we go through these dimensions. So yesterday, just a very quick recap. Yes, Krishna was telling Arjuna, arise, O chastiser of the enemy. You're in a fight, you're in a war, and you have to do your duty. We talked about how that battlefield that Arjuna was on is not just a literal battlefield, but it also represents the battlefield of our life. We're all on the battlefield. We're all experiencing a different type of war, which we'll reflect on in a second. And therefore, we ended yesterday with the prayer, may the hard crushing wheel of life extract some humility from my offense-hardened heart, and may the nectar of that humility give rise to pure love for Krishna. Before we can experience the emotions of Vrindavan, the heart has to become very soft. But the problem is our naturally soft heart has become very hard, isn't it? One time Srila Prabhupada was walking through Russell Square, and with his cane on a cold winter London morning, Srila Prabhupada was smashing all the ice puddles diligently. And then the devotee said, Prabhupada, why are you smashing the ice? He said, because it is not the nature of ice to be, it is not the nature of water to be hard. The nature of water is to flow. The nature of water is to be fluid. The nature of water is to be liquid. So our heart has become very hard. Put your hands up if you feel like sometimes you have a hard heart, a little insensitive to others. Sometimes devotees do. At the manor, we used to have Mother Kalangana. I don't know how many of you met her. She was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and for so many years, decades, she would make Mangalarti sweets for Radha Gokulananda, and they were the most incredible sweets because every sweet was hand painted with a beautiful design. I think each sweet would take her many minutes to paint. And she would come and running to us in the morning, giving us Mangalarti sweets. Such a soft heart, such a soft. She used to have this apron, and on the apron it said, Krishna's little helper. So that was very nice. She was a mother. She was always teaching us to have a soft heart. And in front of her, we felt, oh no, my heart is so hard. I don't have a soft heart. So yes, we're on this battlefield of life. It's very difficult. But all of these experiences, all of these battles we're going through, ultimately are helping us to culture a very soft heart. So yes, Kuruksetra is the place of battle. We have to become spiritual warriors, as we were talking about yesterday, just like His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. But now let us go further and talk about how Kuruksetra represents something more. But let me first share this very beautiful quote with you. Srila Prabhupada says, excuse me, Senapati means two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, were appointed as the commander-in-chief in this fighting with Maya. This Krishna consciousness means it is declaration of fighting with Maya. Did you all know that you have declared a war? I'm just letting you know that in case you didn't realize. The day you walked into the Hare Krishna temple, the day you picked up your beads, the day you came in front of Krishna and said, Krishna, I want to love you, you declared war. You declared war on Maya. And when you declare war, that means there's going to be a pushback. That means there's going to be obstacles. That means there's going to be an opposing army. So get ready. But don't worry. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are your commander-in-chief. Prabhupada says, Maya is killing all the poor conditioned souls. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared war against Maya by spreading Krishna consciousness. The commander-in-chiefs are Rupa, Sanatan. In other words, if anyone wants to be expert in Krishna consciousness to fight with Maya, they must follow the principles of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Are you happy that Rupa and Sanatan are your commander-in-chief? Amazing, isn't it? Rupa and Sanatan are masterminds of Bhakti. Understand this. This is a very beautiful point. They are masterminds of Bhakti because, first of all, they have conquered their mind and senses. Therefore, Goswami means one who has conquered their mind and senses. Therefore, masterminds, because who in this world has conquered their mind and senses? Most people not. There was once a sticker on the car and it said, do not disturb, already disturbed. Because the Prayenal, Payushaha Sabhya, Bhagavatam is saying we are always disturbed. But the Goswami is no longer disturbed because they have controlled their mind and senses, masterminds. But not just that, they are masterminds because they have understood the mind of their master. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. They've understood the mind, they've understood the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who can understand the heart and the mind of God? It's a struggle even to understand the heart and mind of your own husband or wife, isn't it? Not that I have personal experience, but it's so difficult to understand the hearts and minds of other people. What to speak of the heart and mind of God? When Rupa Goswami wrote, and he wrote about the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he slapped him. He said, how did you understand my heart? Mahaprabhu went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He said, how did he understand all of this about... It's a bit disconcerting when someone knows what's going through your mind. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, what can you do? You empowered him. It was you who empowered him to understand your mind. So they are masterminds because they've understood the mind of their master. But the Goswamis of Vrindavan are also masterminds because they know how to masterfully reach the mind of every single living entity. We are, Prabhupada said, causelessly unwilling. We're causelessly unwilling. We don't want to go back to home, back to Godhead. Even when we come to the Krishna consciousness movement, we're dragging our feet. Oh, do I really have to? Do I really? Should I really do it? We're dragging our feet. But the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they know how to take us by the hand and take us to Vrindavan. We had a very, very incredible, beautiful presentation by Hari Parashad Prabhu yesterday, showing the incredible genius of Rupa Goswami, how he could write such poetic, beautifully deep realizations about Vrindavan and what is going on there. But that same Rupa Goswami was also coming down to our level and teaching us how to practice Krishna consciousness in the here and now. That same Rupa Goswami was teaching us all the offenses that we have to avoid, all the pitfalls that we have to be careful of. That same Rupa Goswami was teaching us about the witches that may haunt us, or the highway robbers that may steal away from us. That same Rupa Goswami was not just giving us beautiful insights into Vrindavan, but was also navigating us to get there. And therefore, it's incredible. They take us on the full journey. Srila Prabhupada yesterday, Prabhu put up a quote, and Srila Prabhupada said, we should read the works of the Goswamis. And that means the works of the Goswamis which teach us about Vrindavan, but also the works of the Goswamis which teach us about how to first make our heart like Vrindavan, so that we can actually appreciate. Otherwise, rasa theology, if you want to understand rasa theology, you can summarize it in one line. The taster tastes the taste because of good taste. That, in one line, is rasa theology of Rupa Goswami. The taster tastes the taste because they have good taste. But most of us, we don't have good taste. We need to develop the taste, isn't it? Sometimes you see the dress sense and you say, oh no good taste, no taste. Different taste. So we have a different taste at the moment. So like this, the Goswamis are taking us by the hand to Vrindavan in this fight with Maya. They're carrying us through the chaos, walking with us. If I was to ask you, what are some of your favorite fights from the Bhagavatam? Can you tell me? We don't like fighting. Any famous fights? Vritrasura and Indra. That was an epic fight, wasn't it? Yes. Dhruva Maharaj and the Yakshas, wow, that was a really gruesome one. And even Manu had to come and tell Dhruva, calm down. Krishna versus Banasura, also versus Shiva. Yes, Krishna versus Banasura, yes, in the 10th canto. Jambavan, yes, someone said Gajendra, yes. When I was thinking of fighting, the first one that came to my mind was Gajendra. Here we have Gajendra. And Gajendra is fighting for 1,000 years, fighting with the crocodile. And we know the famous lesson that Srila Prabhupada gives. He says, here very, very beautifully, Srila Prabhupada says, we may take the lesson from this pastime that in our fight with Maya, we should not be in a position in which our strength, enthusiasm, and senses will be unable to fight vigorously. Our Krishna consciousness movement has actually declared war against the illusory energy in which all the living entities are rotting in a false understanding of civilization. The soldiers in this Krishna consciousness movement must always possess physical strength, enthusiasm, and sensual power to keep themselves fit. They must therefore place themselves in a normal condition of life. What constitutes a normal condition will not be the same for everyone, and therefore there are divisions of Varnashram Dharma. We're moving now in our journey. We've accepted we have to fight a little bit in this material world. It's not all about fighting. There will be love, there will be emotion, there will be softness of the heart and movement of the heart. It will all come. But you have to fight a little bit. You have to be ready. And here now we're moving on because we're realizing as we fight in this material world, we have to be situated in our dharma. And therefore, Kuruksetra becomes very interesting for us, because Kuruksetra is not just a Yuddha Kshetra, but it's a Dharma Kshetra. Kuruksetra is the place where you can learn Dharma. And Dharma is very, very useful, because here we've just heard Prabhupada said, in this fight, you need to be in your Dharma. Kuruksetra historically was a Dharma Kshetra for many reasons. Did you know Kuruksetra was the place from which Brahmaji sat and created the entire planetary manifestations? Did you know? How many here have been to Kuruksetra? Okay, only a few of you. Yes, if you go to Brahma Kund, then they said that from this place Brahmaji created the whole universe. Not just that, Kuruksetra was famous because Parashuram, when he was killing all the deviant Kshatriyas, then he created rivers of blood at Kuruksetra, and then later on he performed a sacrifice for atonement. And therefore it was famous because of that. Kuruksetra is also famous because Prithu Maharaj also came to Kuruksetra. Prithu Maharaj had come there to perform the final oblations for his father. Kuruksetra is also famous because it said Manu wrote the Manu Samhita, or parts of the Manu Samhita, at Kuruksetra. Kuruksetra is also famous because in the Bhagavatam you hear about Dadichi, isn't it? Dadichi was the one who offered his bones in order to the demigods so that they could create a weapon that would defeat the demons. And it said that Dadichi's ashram was also at Kuruksetra. So can you see, so many things happened at Kuruksetra? And Kuruksetra was the place where Kuru, the elders, the predecessor of the Pandavas and the Kauravas, he performed a sacrifice for many, many years. And when Vishnu was pleased, then Vishnu said, what would you like as a benediction? He said, I want 2 benedictions. He said, the first is, I want Kuruksetra to always be known as a Dharma Kshetra. He said, yes, of course. And he said, the second benediction is that should any battle ever take place, if it takes place on the battlefield of Kuruksetra, then whoever dies here will attain elevation. And Vishnu said, yes. So when the Pandavas and the Kauravas decided where to fight it out, Kuruksetra was a good option. For many practical reasons, also for this deeper spiritual reason. So Kuruksetra is a Dharma Kshetra for many, many reasons. But we know it as a Dharma Kshetra because the most famous conversation of Dharma took place at Kuruksetra. The Dharma Samvad, the conversation, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, in which Dharma is elucidated in its deepest way. When we look at the Bhagavad Gita, then we see that there are 2 dialogues going on, isn't it? The first dialogue that is going on is the dialogue between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. The second dialogue that we're hearing is the dialogue going on between Krishna and Arjuna. Just as a side point, is very, very interesting, these dialogues, because the question is different and therefore the answer is different. In the dialogue between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, what is the question that Dhritarashtra asks? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yoyotsava mamaka pandavascheva kimakurvata. Sanjaya, oh Sanjaya, kimakurvata, when Mamaka, my sons, and the Pandavas, when they assembled at Kurukshetra, what happened? Now this is a direct question, but it's also an implied question, isn't it? Yesterday, Dvani. Dvani means something is there, but then there's something which is implied. So when Dhritarashtra is asking what happened on the battlefield when everyone assembled there, the real question he's asking is, what is going to happen to my sons? That's the real question he wants to know. What is going to happen to my sons So that's the first question that he asks. And what is the final answer that Krishna gives right at the end of the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama. Where there is Krishna and Arjuna, there's always victory. But Krishna and Arjuna on the opposite side. There, understand the answer to your question. They will lose. They will be defeated. They will be uprooted. So, this is very interesting because most people in the world ask the question, what? They're asking questions of what? What should I do? What are the activities I should take up? Most of the world is interested in the question of what. But Arjuna, he asks a different question. What is his question? Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava prachami tvam dharma shamuda chetaha yatreya shannishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. He also says what I should do. But his implied question is, why do I exist? In other words, what is my dharma? Less intelligent people are interested in activities. More intelligent people are interested in purpose. Because if you know purpose, then activities will become very simple to understand. And therefore, Arjuna's question is a question of purpose. He wants to know dharma. What is my dharma? And specifically, he's interested to know because right now he has a dharma shamuda. He's confused. He's bewildered. He's mixed up. He's not sure what his dharma or his purpose is. And therefore, he comes to Krishna and he says, I'm your disciple, now you please tell me. So just like Dhritarashtra's first question was then accompanied by Krishna's final answer, Arjuna's first question is then accompanied by Krishna's final answer. So what do you think the final answer, the ultimate answer, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on this question of Arjuna? Agreed? What do you think is Krishna's final answer then to the question, what is my dharma? What's the final answer? Yes. Everyone is off the blocks there. Yes. Krishna says, we can say together, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yishyami masucha. Now this requires some explanation. I think so. Isn't it? Because Arjuna is asking, what is my dharma? And Krishna's final answer is, give up all your dharma. That's amazing. Many people over the ages have not been able to understand this. In fact, in some places in India, they think it's a misprint, so they quote it, Sarva adharma parityaja, because that seems to be more in line. Give up adharma. Give up ignorance. After all, that seems more like what Krishna should be saying. Hey Krishna, did you make a mistake? Because Krishna says, Yada yada hi adharmasya glanir bhavati. Krishna says, I come when there is adharma. So then it seems the end message should be give up all adharma. So what does this mean? Krishna is saying sarva dharman paritya is completely counterintuitive. Because when Arjuna asked the question in 2nd chapter, in the 3rd chapter, what is Krishna doing? He's telling Arjuna, stay on the battlefield, do your dharma. In the 4th chapter, what is Krishna saying? I've come here, dharma sanstha panarthaya sambhavami, I've come here to establish dharma. In the 5th chapter, what is Arjuna saying? Karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, stay on the battlefield. In the 6th chapter, what is Krishna saying? Alternative, go to the forest. You can't do it? Okay, stay on the battlefield. In every chapter, Krishna seems to be telling Arjun, do your dharma, keep doing your dharma. And then right at the end, Krishna says, give up your dharma. This has confused many people. Is it confusing? No? Not confusing. You know the answer. It seems to contradict what Krishna says. Because Krishna says, I've come to establish dharma. And now he's saying, give up dharma. And it also seems to contradict what Arjun does. Because after Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja, then what does Arjun say? Karishye vachanam tava. Then I'll do what you tell me to do. And then what's the very next thing that Arjun does? He picks up his Gandiva bow and starts acting out his Kshatriya dharma. Hang on. Give up dharma. I'll do completely, Krishna, what you said. And then pick up your bow and then do your Kshatriya dharma. How does it all fit in? So it seems to be confusing. Today is going to be an interactive session. I will not be giving answers. I will only be asking questions. Does anyone want to resolve the conflict for us? Why it's not confusing? Anyone? Brave. Give us an idea. Don't be scared. On the battlefield, you have to be brave. Yes.
He says in the 9th chapter how we should do our dharma, isn't it? When he says, my guess would be that it how depends how you do your dharma with manmana bhavanat bhakto. In that spirit that you always think of Krishna, and then it doesn't really matter what you do, because internally you're engaged with Krishna.
Okay,
There's
right.
very nice slides going on with the different kinds of devotees. So.
Yes, very good. So in the 9th chapter, Krishna says, Manmana, engage your mind in thinking of me. So he's giving a dharma there. He's giving a purpose. Yeah, okay. Let's get some more ideas.
First 18, all the before chapters, Krishna explained the dharma.
Mm-hmm.
Now he is asking to abandon all that dharma.
Yeah.
That's what it is confusing.
Yeah, we're on the same page. You got an answer?
Because Krishna meant to say like, he himself is dharma.
Okay. So we should give up Krishna? Yeah, no, thank you for trying. We have to try. We have to, yes.
When Parikshit Maharaj is asking what is Supreme Dharma, it says the Supreme Dharma is to develop attraction for hearing the message of Krishna or also following the will of Krishna. So the Supreme Dharma.
Okay, so now you're bringing in the concept that there are different levels of dharma. Save pumsham paro dharmo yato bhakti radhok sajay. There's a paradharma. So you see, there's some footnotes to Krishna's. Yeah, very good. Hari Parshad Prabhu is here. If we give you the mic, Prabhu, you will kill the interactive exercise because we will immediately shortcut to the Siddhanta. But please, you tell us.
Prabhu, I should also be allowed to make mistakes. We said yesterday Krishna was making many mistakes. So please allow me to make my mistake. Arjuna realized that Krishna's central message was Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. That constantly remember me and fight. And what is dharma? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. What Bhagavan says, that becomes dharma. And everything else in comparison to that becomes subordinate. So Krishna is essentially saying here, whatever is contradicting my thought process, abandon all of that and follow what I want you to do. That is dharma.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, so even if it seems Krishna is contradicting himself, ultimately dharman tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. Real dharma, real religion is that which is enunciated by the Supreme Lord. And even if the Supreme Lord said many things, if in the final analysis he's saying something that this is my paramam vacha, my supreme instruction, then you should follow that. That is the ultimate dharma. Does anyone else want to say anything?
Was I correct?
No, it's all correct. There are many. Yes, these are all Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, when I was trying to develop a Vedic way where I summarize the philosophy into practical action steps, I did understand that there are various levels of Dharma. There is Loka Dharma, which is more ethical related activities. There is Svadharma, which refers to what I do in relationship to me. Am I a handicraft man, or am I perhaps a Vaishya more, and so on. And there is Sanatana Dharma, what is eternal, what does not change, what is in relation to God. So there are three types of Dharma. One in relationship to myself, that's called Svadharma, what I should do. I should not imitate the Dharma of another one. Then there is Lokadharma, what I do in relationship to other human beings, ethical conduct. And then there is Sanatana Dharma. And of all the three, the Sanatana Dharma takes precedent because it's the Dharma of the soul, the real essential self. Soul is not just something, I like this sentence so much, which we have, like a profession or a heart or brain or anything we have. It's who we essentially are. So therefore, that's my attempt. But I guess
Yes.
But I always say also the wrong thing. Or the incomplete thing. So we are waiting for you.
No, I'm getting the answers here. Thank you so much. Yes, it's beautiful to just think about this. Yes, all of these are perspectives, and there are many ways to see. Okay, Mataji would like to say something.
I always had the feeling that there is Krishna is trying to protect the future. That somebody in the future is not going to say, now this is our superior religion. And then therefore he's saying giving up all kinds of religion. So that in the future nobody is saying that we have monopoly on this religion.
Okay, so you're saying Krishna is saying abandon all varieties of religion to remove sectarianism or the idea that one group, and to show that spirituality and ultimate perfection is to develop love which goes beyond boundaries of identification with groups. Okay, thank you. Very nice. Yes, we can see this from many ways, but I think the points here mentioned were very nice. The first thing, it doesn't contradict what Krishna said previously, because, as Maharaj explained, we heard here, there are different levels of Dharma. So yes, Krishna is establishing Dharma. He's establishing that there is Apara Dharma, or the Dharma of this world, and there is Para Dharma, Dharma of the spiritual world. And therefore, when Krishna is saying Sarva Dharman Parityaja, he's saying you can give up the Apara Dharma, the relative dharmas of this world, Mamekam Saranam Raja, to establish and embrace the ultimate Dharma, which is to develop love for me, to develop surrender to me. So it's possible that you can also subordinate Apara Dharma. Well, that's what we do as Vaishnavas. We subordinate Apara Dharma to Paradharma. All the things we do in this world are not a goal in and of themselves. They are not a goal in and of themselves. You can do all your dharmas perfectly, but if it doesn't lead to Paradharma, love for Krishna, then Bhagavatam says, what is it? A useless waste of time. Dharma svanustita pumsham vishvakshena kathashuya notpadayed yadi ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Hari Parshad Prabhu is the Sanskrit scholar, but it seems to me Eva hi kevalam is as emphatic as you can get. Eva means exclusive. He means certainly. And kevalam means
All three mean exclusive.
all three mean yeah. Therefore, when Srila Prabhupada translates it, he says is a complete useless waste of time. So now, this is very, very interesting. Arjun picks up his bow at the end of the conversation and he starts doing his Kshatriya Dharma. But now Arjun's orientation has become different. Something has changed in Arjun because he's heard Krishna say, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mamekam Saranam Braja. Therefore, Arjun, when he picks up his bow at the end and embraces his Kshatriya Dharma, he's not the same Arjun as the beginning. Because now in his mind, he's realizing that the goal of life is Mamekam Saranam Braja, surrender to Krishna. And now I will embrace my Kshatriya duty because it will be a service, because it will be pleasing, and because it will ultimately help me to surrender my mind, body and words and activities to Krishna. In that way he's doing his Apara Dharma, but he's understanding in the context of Para Dharma. And this is how we resolve it. So when Krishna says Sarva Dharman Parityaja, it doesn't mean that one is ejecting themselves from the world, but it means that what they're doing is they're putting the main thing in the front. Prabhupada, he once said, the hippies, they did Sarva Dharman Parityaja. But I came to teach them Mamekam Saranam Braja. They gave up everything. They gave up all their duties. They walked away from it all. They ejected themselves from the system. But now they have to realize, what is all of that if you don't surrender to Krishna? So Dharma is a very, very interesting thing. In one sense, as Vaishnavas, we are going beyond Dharma. We are Para Dharma. We're going to love. But do you think Dharma is important for us? Do you think so or not important? Yes. Important or not important? Must be important, right? Otherwise, why is the whole conversation of the Gita based on Dharma? Dharma Samuda, confused about their duty. Dharma can often bring a lot of confusion. Here are some of the confusions that come when all of us think about what is my Dharma, or when we think about Dharma. The first confusion is, what is my Dharma? Put your hand up if sometimes you're confused, what is my Dharma? Okay, we have a lot of confused. All of us are confused. Then we have other confusions when it comes to Dharma. How do I balance the different Dharmas? Arjun had the same confusion, isn't it? Because he had a Kula Dharma, a duty to his family. He had a Kshatriya Dharma, a duty as a warrior. He had other dharmas. There are so many dharmas. Pati Dharma, Shtri Dharma. There's so many dharmas that we have. And how do we work all of them together? It's difficult to understand. That creates confusion. Another confusion in Dharma is, even when I know what is my Dharma, why is it that I don't live my Dharma? Why do I live someone else's Dharma? Did you know there's only 2 verses in the Gita which are repeated verbatim? The first one, you know, Manmana Bhava Madbhakta, Krishna says twice. There's one other verse in the Gita which Krishna repeats twice verbatim, which means it's very important. What is that other verse? Shreyan Svadirma Viguna. One must do their own dharma and not imitate another person's dharma. But why is it that I always seem to gravitate towards doing something that's not me, that's not natural to me, that's not what I'm supposed to do? It's an interesting question. How can my dharma contribute to bhakti? How many of you sometimes feel you're doing your dharma, and not only is it not helping you, not only is it not helping you in your bhakti, it sometimes seems to be an obstacle to your bhakti. Put your hand up. Okay, so here, a lot more confusion. And then the confusion comes when you're in that situation, can I give up my dharma? Because Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja. This is getting in the way. This is a problem. This is a complexity in my life. Can I give it up? Many questions. Now I will ask all of you to answer them. We will do a brainstorm. First thing is, let's just do a very, very quick brainstorm. If someone is saying, I don't know what's my dharma, what tips can you give them to help them understand what is their dharma? You can shout out very quickly. Yes.
Guidance.
Take guidance from seniors. Yes. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. Let me bring this closer. You can shout, because if we go with the mic, it will take too long. So yes, Prabhu.
I usually tell people that find that activity which is a contribution to society, in which you don't have any expectation of the return, and something which you contribute. Maybe in spare time, the 9 to 5 job perhaps is not aligned with the dharma of the heart.
Yes.
Something which is outside the 9 to 5 job, in which you can contribute something to society and not expect anything back.
Okay, very nice. I'm just going to kind of shortcut it here, and I'll give you a formula for dharma. Passion plus expertise plus usefulness equals dharma. When there's something that you're passionate about, that you love doing, which naturally seems to fulfill your abilities and potential, and something which you have a passion for, and something which you have an expertise in, and something you can then use in service to others, service to the world, service to Krishna. When it ticks all three of those boxes, usually that's your dharma. So yes, something you can offer to the world, something you can do as a selfless. Dharma is never selfish. Dharma is never just for your own personal gain. Dharma is always for the purpose of service, because Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nitya Das, we are servants. Yes, good. What else? What other tips would you give to someone who wants to? Yes, you can shout.
Read Prabhupada.
Yes, Shastra. Shastra is telling us so much. What are the characteristics of different varnas and ashramas, and how to understand dharma? Yes.
Something, even though you try to avoid to do it, you can't do without it.
Yeah. Yeah, they say if, you can see that with managers. They say, okay, no more meetings, and in the corridor they begin managing again, Yeah, something you can't avoid, something which you always go back to. Yes. Yes? Questions we'll do later. Right now, I'm asking the questions. Yes.
To see in who we recognize ourselves, and to realize, okay, I'm similar to this person. I somehow recognize myself in this person, so maybe I share the dharma of this person.
Yes, so we can look at other examples of people who have similar personalities, how they're living their dharma. That may give us some inspiration. Good.
Introspect and study our nature.
Introspect and study your nature, yes. Many of us don't even know our own abilities. We have this innate notion, I know myself. I've been living with myself my whole life. Yes, you've been, but have you really heard your heart? So you need to introspect and study yourself. Yes. Analyze yourself. Yes, anything else? Yes?
Well, what others seems to nudge you towards.
Yeah.
People you trust, and they sometimes nudge other persons towards their dharma.
Yes. When there is someone who knows you, someone who loves you, someone who has spiritual insight, and they tell you, oh, I think this would be good, and repeatedly, many Vaishnavas are saying, you start thinking, oh, maybe Krishna is speaking to me. Yes.
To try to experience different kinds of activities and
You see where you can find yourself.
Yeah, try different things. Of course, in traditional Vedic culture, brahmachari gurukule vasandanta guroritam. In traditional Vedic culture, you'd have a teacher, and the teacher would observe you from day one. And so by the end of that time, they would be able to tell you for certain, this is what you're meant to do, give you that guide, and you'd have the trust. But because we don't have that, to some extent in our practical day-to-day modern life, we just have to try different things and see where we naturally can connect. Very good. Yes.
I heard that the children in Vedic times, they get different objects, and parents know what is their nature. Like child has,
Yes.
for example, sword or a book or something else or money. So Vaishya, Shudra or the Brahmana. So the child goes to the different objects. So it's also can be seen as like this.
Yes, they do this as a samskara. They put different objects in front, Parents are always trying to push them towards the Bhagavatam or the money, depending on it. Go here, go here. So we can say, yes, we can say Vedic guidance. Yeah, good. Very nice.
Can I explain with an example, group?
Okay, yeah.
For example, if you take Rama, he shows us how to behave with the father, how to behave with the animals like Vanaras and all, how to behave with the team, how he managed the Vanara Sainya, how to behave with the tribals, how to behave with the enemies, how to behave with the wife, how to behave with the brother. These all contribute, like how we behave in the society, how we behave with others, how we behave in the office.
Yeah.
These all contribute dharma.
So we say Ram is Maryada Purushottam. He is showing the ideal example. So again, similar to this, we look at examples from Shastra about how to be sensitive towards different aspects of life. Very good, yes. Okay, last one.
When you do your duty without grudges,
You do your duty. How does that help you to find your dharma?
whatever is assigned to you by providence, like it comes, because if
Okay.
you're a wife, so it's like you don't have a choice. You are a wife, so you
Yeah.
have to do your certain duties.
Yeah.
But you don't do it with a grudgeful mood.
Yeah, some things just come to you by providence. Some things are just arranged. I was thinking of the Queen the other day, that the Queen, she was coronated when she was 21, maybe. This is the UK Queen. 20, was it 20? Something. 24, something like that. And then she just dedicated her whole life to that dharma of being the Queen. Because she was just born into that. So I thought that was incredible. By providence, someone is just in a situation and we look up and we say, Krishna has arranged it like this. Clearly, I must embrace this. So there's some sense in which, that natural arrangement is also an indicator. Sorry, Prabhu, did you want to say? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll take the last one.
I thought dharma, like you can understand what is your dharma if you observe what is that one kind of activity or engagement that you cannot imagine yourself without.
Yes. Like here we said, the thing you can't avoid doing, or the thing you can't, it's just part of you. Yes. So the reason I'm sharing all of this with everyone is just there are many, many things, and sometimes we feel this dharma shamuda, like I don't know, I'm confused. I really don't know what I should be doing. And there are many, many things you can do, much help you can gain to understand what is your dharma. Because remember, Srila Prabhupada is saying, in the fight with Maya, in the difficulty of this world, if you're in your dharma, then you'll have physical and mental strength, and you won't become tired. Otherwise, yesterday we were asking the question, but sometimes I get tired when I'm fighting. When you're in your dharma, you'll be energized. There'll be inspiration. So this is just something I'm sharing with you. Yes, Maharaj, please.
Sorry, yes, this dharma samudha. What do you think, Maharaj? I'm asking you as a deep reflective person. These things which were collected by the group are extremely valuable. I would like to add another one, which is a totally different approach. You find out the path by walking it. What do I mean? Now, Dharma stands on 4 pillars in Kali. This is ahimsa, this is the highest Dharma, so we don't eat meat. Then there is pure cleanliness, so we have no illicit sexual relation. Then there is truthfulness, so we don't lie or don't gamble. And what was the discipline, yes, tapa. So these are there, and if on the Dharma, this sometimes elusive thing which we are confused about, is standing on these foundations. So by implying these foundations in our life, the what stands on it, our personal Dharma can become clear. I think the confusion which we have will continue as long as we kick the legs, so to say, or the pillars of the Dharma. So this approach would be, okay, let me apply some of the pillars of Dharma in my life, and then this becomes more clear, like a house is built first on the fundament. What do you think about this?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, it's beautiful. Yeah, there are 4 pillars of religion on which not just society, but on which our life is being held up. One way you can see Dharma is like scaffolding. One Gaudiya teacher actually gives this example. He was showing one house one time, and he showed the scaffolding. And he said, this scaffolding is very, very much necessary, because until the cement has set, until everything is in place, you don't take the scaffolding away. You understand scaffolding? How you say in German? You understand? Yeah. Yeah. So he was saying you don't take the scaffolding away prematurely, because this is supporting the building of this place and is supporting it to stay in place. So if you try to build without that, anything could come. A wind could come, some earthquake could come, anything could happen, and then the building will come crashing down. So unless you're fixed in that, ma me kam saranam braja, this Dharma, and then also the supporting principles of religion are helping you to stay there. Yes, thank you, Maharaj, very nice. So here I'm just helping to paint some picture. We're here on a retreat, and we are giving you some questions for you to think about, so everyone can go and take some time to think. Have I understood my Dharma properly? What do you think is the benefit when one follows Dharma? Can you just give me some thoughts? You can just shout, because we're less of time. Your contentment? Yeah.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, yeah. Protection. In what way? What?
Follows Dharma. Dharma protects one directly.
Yeah, so it protects you. Yeah. Balance. Yeah, you find balance in your life. Very good.
Sense of purpose.
Purpose. You have a vision. Empowerment. Can you say more what you mean by that?
It means if you are truly in your Dharma, then Krishna, he can work through you. You get empowered to do more things.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yes, Krishna says, Paurusham Nrishu. Krishna has given you ability. So when Krishna sees that you've deeply taken the time to understand the gift that he's given you, then he will work through you to do amazing things. Yes, very good. Satisfaction, yeah. Contentment, we had that, yeah.
Confidence.
Confidence. Did someone say, what do you mean by that?
Krishna said, do not fear. So, if not
Masucha.
fear, at least confidence.
Yeah, when you're actually doing your dharma, there will be a sense of confidence because you're acting in line with the Lord's plan. But when you act out of your dharma, then naturally there will always be some trepidation. You will. Yeah, good point.
Krishna conscious.
Krishna conscious? Someone say that. That's a good one. Yes, you'll feel more Krishna conscious. Yes. Yes.
Contribution. So you also do something.
You make a bigger contribution to the world, to other people's lives. You'll make a better contribution to Krishna. Yeah.
So there are individual benefits of dharma, and then there is the collective social benefit of following dharma. Because dharma is often seen as a yajna, a sacrifice, in which different people from the society perform their respective duties,
Yes.
so that the society as an entirety can benefit.
Yes.
So dharma is basically yajna,
Yes.
a collective sacrifice for the benefit of the society.
It's a social benefit. Yes. Wonderful. Yes.
Excellence and expertise.
Excellence and expertise. Yes, you will reach your full potential. And so there could be many. We could, and then what you can do, we don't have time today, but then what you can do is look on the other side and see all the opposites of these, and then ask yourself, how much am I on the right side or the left side generally in the way I'm functioning? And then you'll be able to see from how much benefit you're drawing in your life, how much you are situated in your dharma. So if we're lacking on the left-hand side, if we feel like this is not happening in my life, then that's already a sign I'm out of my dharma, or maybe I'm not embracing my dharma. So then that comes to the next question. Even when we know what is our dharma, why don't we live the dharma? If you get all of these benefits from being in your dharma, why in the world aren't all of us in our dharma, living in our dharma? Yes, you can shout.
Maybe because it doesn't make us money.
Yeah, there's no money. Actually, dharma should bring artha. But in the we can still put that there, because in the sense that to embrace your dharma, sometimes you have to go out of a comfort zone. You may not immediately see like a living in this or an earning in this, and therefore you think like there's no money there. I can't live in my dharma. But generally, if you follow dharma, it will bring artha. It will. But we have to be able to venture out of the comfort zone. So sometimes we're too comfortable in being out of our dharma, that we just stayed there. Good point. Thank you. Yes.
We do what other people expect of us.
Yeah, expectations.
We are not independent.
I often tell the story of the mother and the father who were arguing. Accountant, doctor, accountant, doctor. And then they went to court and the judge was hearing them. Accountant, doctor. He said, what are you arguing? We are arguing about what we want our son to be. So accountant, doctor, accountant. So he looked at them and he said, but why don't you just ask him? And they both looked back at him and said, but he's not born yet. It's very interesting. Even before a child is born, sometimes so many expectations, so many opinions, so many ideas, and in the noise of all of that, we don't hear our own heart. Opinions and expectations, yes. Why else do we not embrace our dharma? Laziness, because it takes effort to change and move into your dharma. Too lazy. Peer pressure, yeah. Expectations and opinions, peers, yeah. What else? Anxiety. Anxiety about what?
I think it always takes some courage to follow dharma, because you have to show yourself as who you are, and that's scary.
Yeah, we have to show ourselves, and maybe we feel others may not accept or appreciate or acknowledge, or so yeah, it takes courage. Yes. What else?
No guidance.
No guidance. We have no guidance on what is our dharma or how to make that step. Yes?
Weakness of mind.
Weakness of mind. Okay.
And karma.
What do you mean by karma?
Well, maybe it's not just meant to be like, successful. Even if you have a dharma, but nothing goes like in a positive way for you to fulfill your dharma.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like the fortunes in your life are supporting you to live your dharma.
Because you said that if you have passion and expertise and it's useful, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So I would say it's karma.
Okay, you feel sometimes there are forces or something pushing back which is stopping you. Okay, maybe we can explore that more. Yes?
Fear of commitment.
Commitment, yeah, fear of commitment.
Insecurities.
Can you say more what you mean by that?
That I may be afraid to follow my dharma because I'm insecure, I may not be good enough, or I may fail.
I may fail, yes. This is a huge one. When I begin every year, then what I do is I make certain goals for the year. But what I also do is I try to create a meditation for the year. So not just goals or things I want to do in 2023, but also a meditation that I want to live with, which pervades every single activity that I do. So my meditation for 2023 was discovering the inner child. And I was meditating on children and what you can learn from children that can really help you in your spiritual journey. And one of the things I really appreciate about children is that they're not scared to fail. Have you noticed? Like, children will just do anything, and if they fail, it's like, it's okay. They fall, they pick themselves up, and they go on. There's very less self-consciousness. It starts to kick in at a certain age, but there's a certain openness to failure. And sometimes we're so worried about failing that we don't embrace what we can do. Thank you. Yes.
Pride, and because within the Krishna conscious society there are these four, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Sudras. And when you come to learn about this, then you think, for sure I'm a Brahmana. I have to be the highest. So it's like a pride. I remember I got my astrological chart at one point, and it was just so clear I'm a Vaishya. And I just have to accept, that you don't have to be the highest kind of Vaishya. You have to be whatever you actually are.
Yes, and therefore Mahaprabhu says, Naham Vipro Nacha Narapatir Napi Vaishyo Nasudro. Because Mahaprabhu just throws it all out and says, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a man or a woman, I'm not any of these things. Actually, the highest is to be the lowest. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalyorta. I'm a servant. So yeah, because the wrong things are appreciated. This is very, very important in community building. Whatever you appreciate in a community, that's what people will psychologically always try to achieve. Because everyone wants to be appreciated. So in a community, if we appreciate, for example, a certain type of service more than everything else, even people who aren't wired to do that kind of service will all try to do it because everyone wants appreciation. So therefore it's so important for example, in community building, whatever we appreciate, whatever we glorify, whatever values we promote, that is what everyone will gravitate towards. And so it's very, And then
Maharaj, in the context of Varnashrama Dharma, there was support system always available. So Brahmana who is a teacher, who is poor, for example, is always taken care by the king. So he could live his dharma without worrying too much about how my existential reality is being taken care of. Right? Now it's absent. So that makes it a bit difficult because there is no support system outside.
yes, very good. Yes, so when there's support system, yes, hi Parsha.
The benefits of following somebody else's dharma seem better than or the grass is greener on the other side.
Yes. Yeah, we often think, they get more attention, they get more glorification, or they get more facilities. Yes, at the back.
Yeah, we were speaking about different levels of karma or
Dharma.
So I was thinking, if I look at my own life, I also feel that some of the more temporary levels of karma or the more material levels tend to get in the way of param karma.
Mm.
So your duties as a mom just means you're not able to be on the altar, for example, because you will always flip through.
Yeah.
You may be wanting to serve Krishna a lot, but there's
Okay, yeah. Very good one. Yeah. So your desires for devotional service means you take certain decisions which mean you may not embrace your dharma because you see your dharma as an obstacle to your bhakti. Yeah, kind of like that. Okay, so that's a good cue to move to the next one. Thank you. Maybe subtly that was Krishna through you telling me, get on with this presentation. Move on. Okay, can I give up dharma in pursuance of bhakti? So in the case that you've mentioned, where someone has a dharmic duty, but it feels like, okay, let's take that one, maybe, I don't know, being a parent or having a certain type of job or commitment in the world. Can you give up your dharma to pursue bhakti? Where is your feeling? Yes, no, or do you have a longer answer? That doesn't, I'm sure it's the third one. Tell me what considerations. Maybe a better question is, what are the considerations that someone should think about if they're feeling that I need to give up dharma in order to pursue bhakti? What are the things they should think about deeply before making a decision on that? Yes.
I mean, I think Prabhupada gave a very good example in his life. I mean, he got from reading Lilamrita, I got the impression that he was not very happy about his many dharmic duties he had as a young man, but he gave them up in due time and not in haste. So he waited until his time came to give them up.
Good point. Don't do it in the mode of passion. Don't do it prematurely. Try to work with the situation and try to integrate dharma and bhakti, and only when it comes to that point where you feel that you've tried everything, then maybe you may consider. Yes, Maharaj.
If it's absolutely clear that this is Krishna's desire, then yes, Krishna wanted you wanted what was it? Ashwatthama is dead,
Yes.
and wanted Yudhishthira to say it, he couldn't do it. But
And how do we know, Maharaj, if it's absolutely clear? Is there any particular?
This is not an easy one, because fanatic religion claim that yes, this is Allah. It's God's will that a war is fought, and they have their priests to confirm. Yeah, how is it clear? Guru Sadhu Shastra, that is.
And then ultimately sincerity. You can't replace sincerity where one is deeply looking and trying to connect deeply with Krishna's will. Yes. Thank you.
I have to laugh because yes, how do you know it's absolutely
Yes.
Any dharma which is obstacle to bhakti can be left.
Any dharma which is an obstacle to bhakti can be left. Wow. Okay. Do you think that could be a dangerous approach sometimes? So how to know at what point something is such an obstacle that you have to leave it?
Suppose you are in a duty, like in some service outside, which is not in pursuance with the religious principles,
Mm-hmm.
it can be an obstacle.
But what about if you need to do that in order to pay for your family and food and bills and
Do something else.
do something else? Okay, so but that's a good point. Try to adjust. Sometimes sometimes we have a stereotyped image of how we should do our bhakti. So say, for example, the principle may be you need to earn for your family, and the detail is what job you do in order to earn for your family. Now, if you're in the bad job, like say, for example, in a unsuitable environment, then the unintelligent person will just say, this job is not supporting my dharma, therefore I should just leave working altogether. But you could also say, this job is not helping my bhakti, but maybe another job may. In other words, there's room for movement within your dharma, but sometimes we feel we identify our dharma with one specific thing, and when that thing isn't working, we throw the baby out with the bathwater. So we throw it all out. So, good point. Lots of hands. I can't see. Someone has to just shout.
What also puts out the tension out of this question is the question, is it temporary or is it permanent, my decision? Like, do I give up permanently my dharma, or is it just for like a few hours or a few weeks or days?
Yeah. So, is it temporary or is it permanent? Sometimes you may temporarily put something to one side, not giving it up completely, but to give yourself some breathing space or some opportunity to then again come back and embrace it, but in a more powerful way. Yeah, good point.
Will it really help, or will it cause other disturbance?
Will it cause other disturbance? This is a great point, yeah. Sometimes you can, by giving up your dharma, solve one problem, or seemingly solve one problem, and then create another 10. But when in the intensity of that situation, we just think, no, I'm going to solve this. By giving this up, I'm going to solve this. But we don't realize, in English they say you're opening up a can of, sorry to say that before prasadam, but that is the reality. So will it cause other complexities? Yeah. Or just take different and then, yeah.
On that note, what she said, I termed it, will it harm? Does it cause harm? Personally, does my conditioned nature allow that step, or do I need to consider also things on the lower level of my conditioned nature, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaking about personal, societal, intellectual needs? And does it
so how does it impact more than me?
Yeah, does it
yeah.
Impact, how does it impact society, or probably said a mention of
that's a great point.
Still had a family before he had to do his business, and when that was kind of done, could make the next step.
Yeah, so what impact does it have on, we just tend to see the world. Arjuna is an amazing person. Arjuna is like at the beginning of the Gita, he's thinking, if I fight, then the elders are going to be killed. If the elders are killed, then the sacrifices will be stopped. The women won't be protected. There will be unwanted progeny in the world, and that will cause destruction for the future of society. I mean, who's ever made that kind of deep thinking in a decision? He's not just thinking about himself, he's thinking about how this decision is going to affect society. He's not just thinking about how this is going to play out in the next 10 years. He's thinking what's going to happen generations after me once I'm dead and gone. That's such a deep level of sensitivity. Vaishnav means to be sensitive. So when you may give up your dharma, you may not understand that it has a deep impact on many, many others. And if we are impeding other people's journey, will Krishna be pleased? I don't know. We have to be very careful. So therefore, it's a great consideration. What impact does it have more than just me? It's not just a personal decision, because the English poet Donne says, no person is a social island. We're not social islands. Everything you do has an impact on others. So yes. I'm just looking at time. There could be so much we could discuss, and maybe you can continue this in your conversations. But now you begin understanding how there's many, many things you have to consider before trying to give up your dharma in pursuance of bhakti. There are many things to consider. It's not a whimsical decision. So today we are talking about Kuruksetra as a dharma kshetra. Ultimately, dharma is not the goal of our life. The goal of dharma is paro dharma. The goal of dharma is to attain love for Krishna, attraction to Krishna. And dharma is a beautiful means that Krishna has given us on the journey towards that pure love. So when we reflect on Kuruksetra, then we're understanding that yes, we don't have spontaneous attraction right now for hearing and chanting. We don't have that level of absorption. And therefore in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam is mentioned that when one has not awakened their ultimate absorption in hearing and chanting, they should continue on in performing their dharma while simultaneously cultivating this attraction for Krishna, Shravanam Kirtanam, and do those side by side in order to progressively advance on the devotional path. And therefore Krishna came, and he came on the Yuddha Kshetra, the battlefield, and he taught dharma. He taught dharma to Arjuna because he was teaching how to navigate this world and how to gradually purify the heart so that we can attain that love for Krishna. So we're going slowly, but we're going to now go slowly into deeper dimensions. Tomorrow we will discuss Kuruksetra as the Viraha Kshetra. And then we'll begin understanding, yes, going to Vrindavan is not just about fighting. Going to Vrindavan is not just about following your dharma. There has to be a deeper longing, a deeper desperation. But this deeper longing and desperation has to be founded upon these dimensions. For example, if we go into the forest, Prabhupada once said, this material life is like a block of wood. And somehow or other, you have to carve Krishna out of it. So now tomorrow, imagine if you would bring a log of wood from the forest. Then the first thing you'd have to do is take all the insects off it. Then the second thing you'd have to do is wash it. Then the third thing you'd have to do is cut off some of the rotten bits. And then the fourth thing you'd have to do is sand it. And then once you have that block of wood, which has been prepared, then an expert sculptor can come and produce something wonderful and polish it. And then it looks very, very beautiful. So we can understand that as we move from Kuruksetra to Vrindavan, then this need to be a spiritual warrior, this need to fight against the degradation and the lower nature, and this need to embrace our dharma is like preparing that block of wood so it can be carved into a very beautiful offering to Krishna. So thank you for bearing with us on the journey. These are very, very important lessons to learn. But as we approach Vrindavan in this way, then we will have a beautiful chance, because this is the path given to us. Mahajano Yaina Gata Sapantha, the path given to us by our commanders-in-chief, Rupa and Sanatan, who are holding our hands as the commanders of the army, walking with us through the chaos of this world with their instructions, and then ultimately opening the doors to Vrindavan, where they give us many, many beautiful explanations and understandings which illuminate our desire. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'm looking at the time and I think it would be wonderful to take questions, but I think we have to stop because we also want to give everyone proper rest, and then we're looking so much forward to hearing from His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu and His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, who absorb our minds in remembrance of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Well spoken, well spoken.
In case
dedicated for question and answer. So in case, please note everything down so that tomorrow we can have a beautiful and interactive session. I'd like to announce also Maharaj has brought with him 2 wonderful books. One is the book Bhagavatam, which is a summary study of Srimad Bhagavatam using acronyms that helps us to remember all the chapters. And the other one is called Gita in 3, and that's like 3 different perspectives on Bhagavad Gita. I'm not able to say more about that, but we will have a book table where some assistant of Maharaj will be there distributing those books, and they can tell you more about the details. But knowing Maharaj is very well thought of, and those are precious gifts you might like to purchase. And just few other small announcements. We have one couple who will take care of children today at 11 o'clock. If you have children and you would like to be part in the lecture of H.H.SB Keshava, it will be at 11 o'clock in the library up here on the right side. In case you are parents and you would like also to give a little bit yourself for taking care of children another time, please approach our Bhakta Elias. Elias is just there in Winnie's hand. He has a huge load of games, of ideas, of things that can be done for the kids, but he needs some parents to help him out. So in case you can approach him. And I just want to introduce, I hope she's here, Ananda Mani. Here, please raise. So Ananda Mani, she's like the warrior of this festival. She's serving as temple commander and overviewing all the service from cleaning kitchen, cutting vegetables and everything. If in case you feel you have received a lot of knowledge but you would like to go a little bit into some action, please approach her. She has a lot of space free to fill up in the service, so please feel free to approach her if you like to help out. Okay, for the program today, very soon His Grace Haripashad Prabhu will serve us some shikarinis, very delicious drinks that start at 11 o'clock. On the program we had planned a holy festival, but the weather is actually not, usually we take the deities out, we have swing and we do that all together, but the weather is not so appealing, I think, for the deities to go out and have swing when it's cold. So instead of that, we will have His Grace Gaur Krishna Prabhu will lead us into beautiful kirtan from 4 to 5, and then at 5 o'clock we will have Shyamananda and his wife with more songs, Vrindavana songs. Now we don't know exactly.
And Gaurahari, we should mention the Holy Lila is going on the altar.
and we don't know. We don't know. It might expand out of the altar. We don't know. But just in case some colors are coming in your hands, some maha, you get some maha or like this, please be, we did that last year and it was very sweet. Actually, like Maharaj mentioned, it's very much loving exchange for you with the color. So in case you get some color, please just apply them very softly in the cheek of someone else in a loving way, but please no throwing and no wild thing. In case it happens, we don't know, it's not in our So I think that's the program for today. We wish you a wonderful day. Thank you a lot, Maharaj, and we look forward to hear further. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
स्वयं भगवान केशव महाराज की